Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of the Sports Department Podcast. I am Steven Bologna, joined alongside Joe Paolantonio, and Anthony Walker is back. And you know what that means. We're talking some MLB Hot Stove. A lot of moves have gone down since our last episode. There's a move maybe that might break during the show. We have our official start time of the MLB season ready to go. A lot to get to. Fun-filled episode, as well as we're going to be talking to Mr. Jack Curry from Yes Network about the Yankees offseason towards the end of this podcast, which I am super excited for. So before we get to all that, how you guys doing?
Anthony's our guest. I want to let him go first.
Great. I mean, I can't complain. You know, we got 2 weeks left until baseball season starts, until pitchers and catchers report. I'm ready to go, dude. I'm ready to rock and roll. I don't know about you guys, but I'm looking forward to it.
Nothing says spring semester like the Major League Baseball season up in the air. I mean, we start the semester, it's bleak outside. There's 2 feet of snow if you're up in the Bologna region. And by the end, we're rocking. We're looking at wild card standings. It's so lovely how we can be all cozied up, our little hot cocoa, our fireplace in this dead of winter. But it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time till the boys of summer come back to play.
As the great Don Henley once put it, Joe.
That's a genius. I mean,
I wonder, did that song go platinum, Joe? Do you know off the top of your head?
Gosh, see, I'm not really an Eagles guy. Sean Jackson ruined anything Eagle related. Bald Eagle, Eagles band, Philadelphia Eagles, obviously. The Rakuten Eagles, Japanese baseball team.
Joe, they're our national bird.
What? The bald eagle is our national bird.
Yeah,
the bald, not the Philadelphia.
The Philadelphia. You gotta watch out for the Philadelphia Eagles, man, flying overhead.
You could argue that the national bird should be something more common that you could see fluttering around on.
Didn't Benjamin Franklin want to make it a turkey? You're a history guy, Joe. You should know that.
He did.
It should be a seagull, if we're being honest.
That's the bird in New Jersey.
Since we're penguin. Here. Do we have any penguins out here in the zoo?
The penguin really symbolizes the American dream. Maybe it can't fly. Maybe it can't do all the things birds can do, but it's still a bird, and it's still just as good as the rest of them.
How about an emu? Like, they're big, they're fast as almighty hell. Can you imagine a big emu on a flag? Like, that'd be awesome.
I reject. Where's the American eagle on a flag?
No, well, I mean,
what flag?
You're right, but I mean,
show me that claw.
What claw? The eagle claw or the
I won't even shop at American Eagle. That's how much Deshaun Jackson's punt return had hurt me.
Oh man!
Fly Like an Eagle, Steve Miller Band. I can't even listen to it. It's upsetting.
This Eagles. We'll get to. You mentioned the Rakuten Eagles in a little bit. You know, speaking like you say, Joe, the American Eagle. We're in America. We're near the greatest city in the world, especially in America, New York. Now, the New York Mets have been in the headlines in the past couple hours, where they are one of 2 finalists for Trevor Bauer, them and the Los Angeles Dodgers. A report came out a little while ago from MLB Trade Rumor saying the deal was done. Good old Mark Feinstein said, no go, it's not done yet. And now we wait. Mets reportedly offered 3 for $100. Dodgers, I believe, was a 1-year deal. So where do you guys think he ends up?
Look, there's an offer on the table from the Metropolitans. There's no doubt about that. But I have been texting with sources for the past weeks.
Shut up. And stop it.
Sorry,
No,
Anthony.
I'm not
Anthony, do you have a producer label next to your name for this program?
I'm not letting this happen. I'm just not letting you.
Trevor Bauer has been in talks with the White Sox more than people are thinking. And I'm
not going to let you poison the minds of these listeners with your fake made up Mickey Mouse sources.
Trevor Bauer has been in contact with the Mets, the Dodgers, and I think the White Sox are still very much in it. That's all I'm gonna say.
Nope. I disagree. His agent literally tweeted out down to 2, and every major baseball source is saying it's the Mets and Dodgers.
Down to 2. The
Down
White
to
Sox
2.
and the White Sox.
Look. Do I think he's gonna end up with the Mets? Absolutely. I think a lot of people in baseball do. But I think honestly, the Dodgers might need him more. I
Yeah.
think the Dodgers need a number 2 more than the Metsies. But I tell you, both of those teams are going to end up overpaying. That's just the market. That's the bottom line. I don't think Trevor Bauer is worth $100 million contract at his age after one good half season against the Central.
For 3 years, but for 3 years and an opt-out after one, I don't think it's a terrible overpay. Especially considering if he has a good season this year, he'll probably opt out. I feel like he's the type of guy that would take that risk. I don't know when it's going to happen, but the Mets are going to get Trevor Bauer, and I fully believe that. I really do. I'm just curious to see how this guy would work in New York because this guy's kind of a nutcase. We can't forget that. And I would just be not scared from a Mets fan because obviously I would want him too if I'm a Mets fan. Full disclosure. But I mean, I would obviously just be cautious of the scenario where it's the middle of June. He has 3 bad starts in a row. He gets lit up by Atlanta for 7 runs in 3 innings, and then he starts killing the fans and New York media after the Mets fans boo him off the mound. Like that whole thing would just scare me, just because that's such an explosive personality. We haven't really seen him pitch in any big markets, really. But we'll see what happens, man. Because either way, he's going to a big market, so we'll see what happens either way.
I think the Mets ultimately do end up with him. The Dodgers, though, do have that leverage of flaunting their fresh World Series ring just a couple months ago that they won. If Bauer is going for that, I think Bauer seems like more of a money guy, considering he wants the highest average ever for a player. So I think he does end up with the Mets. But like you said, Anthony, I mean, this is a guy that threw the ball into center field after he got pulled from a start.
For the record, it was a great throw.
It was solid.
It was a
monster
throw.
It's definitely something. They're looking to paint the foul pole a new color. Maybe they should have a bunch of different color paints on the ball. Have Bauer hit the foul pole, and whichever paint lands on the foul pole, they paint it that color.
It'll be like modern art
promotion.
Yeah,
modern. He just throws a bucket of them, a bucket of paintball. I see. Trevor Bauer doesn't strike me as a good teammate. Lindor apparently called him a good teammate. That was a report. But he's called out players on other teams. He's apparently had rifts with his teammates in college. The guy is such a social media presence, and that's not always a good thing because he tweets a lot of things. He just tweets his mind. He's not afraid to go after people, and that's very dangerous. The Mets are coming off of a Jared Porter situation. They're coming off of, Mickey Callaway, even though he's not in the building anymore, that's their situation. They did.
What about when him and Jason Vargas try to fight a reporter?
Exactly, and the media had a field day with that. And Steve Cohen, the owner, just got kicked off of Twitter, just removed himself from the Twitter system. Like, how much scandal are you going to open yourself up to if you're the Mets? This is still a business.
Also, you still got to
do PR.
You got Steve Cohen, who has these warts for his own company before he even got to the Mets. And then you have a guy like Trevor Bauer who harassed a girl on Twitter, not sexually, but harassed her, tweeting at her 90 times. I think she was a college girl. I think she went to a Texas college, but you can find them. The tweets are out there.
Yeah, she recently just tweeted about it.
Ripping this girl. Yeah, ripping her to shreds, like in front of everyone on Twitter. 90 tweets. I mean, this is a situation here, man.
Yeah. So we're gonna just we're in the waiting game now. We're gonna see where Bauer does end up. Most likely either the Mets or the Dodgers. Maybe taking a trip down to Chicago to join the White Sox, according to some sources. But we're gonna see. But in other big news here, especially in the NL, Colorado Rockies superstar Nolan Arenado traded to the St. Louis Cardinals in what was quoted as the most complicated trade in MLB history. He gets sent to St. Louis in return for 4 prospects, and the Rockies eat $50 million of the contract. Does this make the Cardinals a contender or help them out a little bit? Obviously, it helps them out a little bit.
I mean, they're a contender now more so than they were. I could see them.
They weren't a good team before. They were not a good team before.
Yeah, I mean, and you guys, by the way, you guys can hear me. By the way, I'm having some issues with my headphones.
Good.
All right, just want to make sure. No, I mean, they're a better team than they were, a week ago. I think they're an 85 win team at best now.
We support you, Anthony. Microphone, no microphone.
I appreciate that. I don't want another spectacle like last time where I sounded like
the Darth Vader.
Anthony Walker.
Yeah, but I mean, they're an all right team. I really think that this is causing some rifts in Colorado, though. You hear Trevor's story; he's pissed off right now.
Why would he sign it? Apparently, they're trying to extend him. I heard.
He wants nothing to do with them.
Why would he sign that?
He wants nothing. I'm not. If it's big money, then I guess he would sign it. Like if it's huge money, then I guess he'd sign it now and then beg for a trade later.
Someone has to get fired for this in the Rockies organization.
It's just so funny how I forget. I think it was Mumford. Who was it? The one who the owner. I think it was the owner that said that this was a problem that they've been dealing with for years. I'm like, having a top superstar on your team is a problem. Like that sounds so difficult, right? To have a top superstar on your team and pay him heavily. I don't know. It's just it's not to mention this team wasn't a bad team a few years ago. Like this team went to the they went to the
playoffs
divisional series 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Like they're not a bad team. Like they were not a bad team not too long ago.
They were caught in the middle. They were one of those mid-market teams, just like the Pirates. They went through a similar situation where you had a nice little core. You had Blackman, Story, and Arenado, but you didn't have enough to win, and you didn't have enough money to go out and purchase a free. And you had to make the decision: do you keep trying to win and hover around 80 to 85 wins, or do you tear it down? The problem is that in the middle of all this, they signed Arenado to a lucrative extension while they were still trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
The Cardinals are just right place, right time.
I get that. But this was a team in the Rockies that they were a game away from winning the NL West in 2018.
But we can't pretend like this Rockies team hasn't been hot garbage since then.
Since then, yeah.
It's been bad.
But that's all. I mean, that is only 2 years. It's not like it's been 5 years since then.
The pitching has been terrible. The outfield play has been terrible.
Yeah, don't forget they signed Blackman to a lucrative deal as well.
And Blackman's not even good.
Got a 5-year extension in there.
Blackman's not that great.
I mean,
I like Herman Marquez. I think he's solid.
John Gray, not bad.
Not really doing it for me.
I mean, it's got
you
like
a Kyle Freeland guy or no?
Bologna is
great 2019.
He had a 2019 or 2018.
One of the
2019 was the year he got sent down.
Okay, so yeah,
guy went 17-7 with a 2.4. That's incredible.
I feel like he should have won the Cy Young that year. To pitch in Colorado,
either him or AJ
Colorado. Now
Herman Marquez is going to be a Cy Young contender next year. That's a fun fact. Even though the Rockies are so relevant. I saw someone, I believe it was the Great Foolish Baseball on Twitter. He tweeted out. He said it's like Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado were available for trade, but nobody asked except for the Cardinals, so that's how they got them.
Yeah,
and the Yankees they would stand.
They just made a quick call, and it seemed like no other teams were even in on him. This was going on for a while. The Cardinals being linked to him.
It was like a year.
There was never a team like Chris Bryant. I hear a roulette of 15 different teams are interested in trading for Chris Bryant. With Nolan Arenado, No, it's just been the Cardinals. I don't really understand how it was that easy for them.
You heard the Mets a little bit recently too.
That was mostly Mets fans.
You think
that were just saying that.
I'll buy it.
I'm going to congratulate. I will be the first one to congratulate the Cardinals on their National Central Division title.
Yes.
For 2021. I'm very happy for them.
No,
they keep winning divisions with bad teams. Well, with mediocre teams. It's cool. It doesn't even matter. They can just mess around for the first half of the season, and it won't matter because the rest of the division isn't actively trying to win. So this is a cool move.
Yeah. Cardinals should. Go ahead, Walker. No, you're good.
So what do you think's happening in the division? Do you think they're getting swept, or you think they have a fighting chance, or what? Because you said that with a little bit of angst.
I want them to make. I think they're going to make a trade at the deadline because they didn't trade their good prospects for Nolan Arenado.
Austin Gomber.
So they have still a farm system of guys. They have salary room. If they make a trade, it depends. I don't know who's going to be available. This Cardinals team is the start of a nice team, but it's definitely not a team that's going to beat Atlanta, San Diego, New York, and Los Angeles. No.
We're gonna have to see if the Coors Field effect hits Nolan Arenado pretty hard. But we have so many. I disagree. We have a lot of signings to get to, but real quick, we were never able to talk about this on the podcast. The Yankees acquired a starting pitcher from the wasteland in Pittsburgh, Jameson Taillon, in exchange for 4 prospects. What are your thoughts on this one, Joe? We'll go to you first.
It's as excited as you can get about a guy who has had 2 Tommy John surgeries in the past. It's as excited as you can get. He's got some good stuff. He seems to be a good fit for New York. I don't think it's going to be too much for him because that's something you have to worry about with starting pitchers. It was a low risk, high reward deal. The Yankees didn't give up much. He's not making that much money. Look, you do this deal 10 times out of 10 if you're the Yankees. At best he's going to be a good number 2 starter. And I mean, at worst, he's back at the rotation, and you see what happens.
Yeah, it's a risk worth taking. I mean, I like Taillon a lot. I've liked him ever since he came up. He had a great 2018 season. I feel like Pittsburgh just has a knack for developing good pitching that really finds itself once they leave Pittsburgh. Francisco Liriano, Edinson Volquez, Garrett Cole.
Garrett Cole.
But no, I like the deal personally. I think because he didn't really give up much, and the Yankees aren't the only team in on Taillon. You heard the Blue Jays were linked to him, the Rays were linked to him, and I really think the Yankees wanted to not only get him, but keep Taillon away from going to a rival.
It seemed like Joe Musgrove's plan B is Jameson Taillon.
Well, didn't you hear the report that they wanted to get both of them?
I heard that
somewhere. That they want to
trade. Be crazy.
Yeah, trade for both of them in one package, which would have been real. I would have really liked because I really like what Musgrove.
The Yankees and the Pirates love making trades. Seattle gets a lot of credit for making trades, but these 2 teams, for a while, every player that the Yankees just didn't want anymore, they just dumped to Pittsburgh. It was actually really funny. I mean, the Burnett, Cervelli, Chris Stewart, Ivan Nova, they would just dump them to Pittsburgh.
The Yankees friends list, or the Yankees top 3 contacts are the Pirates, the Tigers, and the Diamondbacks.
Mariners are up there as of late,
and Mariners too, right? That's the Mariners are up there with everyone, you know.
Adam Warren, James Paxton.
Yeah,
Dipoto is just bored all the time.
Well, nevertheless, the Yankees do get presumed to be their number 3 starter, a guy that did not pitch all of last season. So hopefully, it turns out to be a good signing for them. Yankees definitely do need pitching. They also, speaking of pitching, Anthony Walker's a big fan of this one. Darren O'Day coming to the Bronx from Atlanta. Walker, you happy about this one?
This guy's good. Like,
excited.
He is. I mean, and you're getting him for $2.5 million when you had Adam Ottavino here with his 5.5 ERA, walking 5 guys per 9 innings, making $9 million. Like I don't know how you can't love this deal. You know,
This guy's good. He's about Darren O'Day. Like he's Mariano Rivera.
is he not good? Is he not like one of the cheaper options in the bullpen?
He's fine. He can pitch. He can pitch the 6th inning in a game 3. That's all you need him to do.
Yeah, and could Adam Ottavino do that?
No.
Thank you. Point closed. Case closed.
Need Jonathan Holder back.
I agree. He's gonna be a good Cub. Yeah.
So yeah, the Yankees they needed some reliever help, and they pick up O'Day from Atlanta. Speaking of the AL East, we'll stay in there. Blue Jays.
Steve,
go ahead.
Quick. They also not a bad pickup. They also got Kyle Bearclaw, which
and Asher Wojciechowski
and Asher Wojciechowski and Julius Chastain. Can't forget about him.
Big news on that.
Walker's done a lot of deep dives on Jolies Chastain's analytics pages. He's done full on. He's done
maybe Taiwan Walker's next.
Papers. Oh,
he's done Peter Brand level player evaluation.
Bro, they're out there. Like you can find them.
The Blue Jays. No, you're good. The Blue Jays making some moves, making a deal with the Metropolitans, acquiring Steven Matz to be a starter for them, and they signed Marcus Semien to a 1-year, $18 million deal. And I think Simeon's going to be playing second base. I don't know if that's confirmed yet, but a couple of nice moves here for a team that's in on basically everyone.
It's cool. Matz doesn't do a lot for me. We saw a lot of him, following just the Mets New York sports. He's kind of been a disappointment. I love the Semien move, though. I mean, this is a guy who was a top player in baseball a couple of years ago, was really an MVP candidate. You get him for $118, which is less than the qualifying offer. That's a steal for his potential, and you could be looking at, with the Blue Jays, one of the best infields in baseball, which is cool.
Yeah, Max is kind of like whatever. Like he's another 4 to 5 starter. I mean, the Blue Jays have a ton of those. Semien's a solid pickup. Like he finished third in MVP voting 2 years ago. Like Joe said, 118. That's not bad. Definitely like a solid. I think it's a solid move. I'm not gonna say I absolutely love it, but I mean, because he kind of had a down year last year. But overall, it's not bad. Definitely not a bad move. Definitely a pretty solid move for Toronto.
Yeah, I'm with you. Simeon's a guy that can play multiple positions, and I feel like the Blue Jays, like they're linked to all these shortstop prospects, and it's like you forget about Bo Bichette, and they have Walker's favorite, Kevin Biggio, still on the roster.
He's so underrated.
Yeah,
so underrated. Gets on base at a 370 clip.
Analytics, man.
That's not even analytics. That's just on base percentage.
Wait,
it's very on the surface.
Wait, you guys believe in on base percentage?
Yes.
I believe. Yes. Do you believe in it? Like it's.
Well, Joe doesn't believe in batting average, so.
Well, batting, yeah. We don't believe in batting average because there's such thing as on base percentage.
Okay.
Pitcher wins, batting average, and RBIs should not exist. It shouldn't exist. Saves too.
We'll talk to Manfred about that.
How about fielding percentage? You think we should keep fielding percentage?
That was a great one. Matt Chapman, very very good. Very good fielding percentage. Joe, best catcher in baseball, signs with his old team, the Philadelphia Phillies, 5 years, $115. Realmuto, the guy that really no one targeted other than I think the Mets. He stays in Philly. Very biggest contract ever for a catcher. And they also signed Didi Gregorius back for 2 years, $28 million. So the Phils, they're loading up the payroll.
Oh, man. What do you do with a team that's not successful? You re-sign everybody on the team that wasn't successful, and you run it back again.
Realmuto was successful, insane. Though. Realmuto was successful, insane. Though. Like, you're talking about him like he sucked. He didn't suck.
No, but I'm saying the Phillies were not successful with that roster, and the only thing they did this offseason was keep the exact same roster intact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't they trade for someone too? Or am I making that up? I'm probably making that up. It was probably
A
like
position
minor
player,
deal.
maybe?
Yeah, like I don't know. I'm probably making that up. It was probably like a minor deal that kind of slipped through the
Let's
cracks.
see if they get Brad Miller. Hold on.
They signed Chase Anderson. I don't know, Walker. I don't.
I might just be completely making that up.
Listen,
I mean, the
Joe,
offseason felt like it's been going on for so long.
Joe, hot take for you. Sleeper MVP candidate, Alec Boehm.
I like that.
So
I like
good.
that.
Guy's a fantastic
I'll
player.
dig it. I respect it.
Superstar in the
Archie
making.
Bradley. They got Archie Bradley.
That's who I'm thinking of.
Arch.
I don't know why that's what I was thinking of, but I don't know why that stood out to me.
Yeah.
Who's the
Only signed
pitcher?
for like $2 million or something. I'm sorry. Who's the pitcher?
Who was the pitcher that was like running in from the bullpen and Realmuto was like this the whole time?
Jared Hughes.
Yeah.
I'm and then
Great
he
video.
gave up a home run to Todd Frazier and they took him out. He threw 3 pitches, gave up a
Yeah.
home run to Frazier and because the dude couldn't catch his breath.
JT Realmuto, Didi Gregorius. I mean, these are good.
Oh yeah, they
these
signed
are good
Gregorius.
players.
That's what I'm thinking. They just signed Didi.
Like
solid moves.
These are solid moves. They're not going to make the Phillies this great team. They still just the bullpen has to be addressed.
They're still the 3rd best team in that division, maybe 4th actually.
Maybe even 5th. I like the Marlins.
You don't believe in Hector Neris?
Nope.
Hector, no, he's not good.
Yeah, no, he's not talented. He's not talented.
Gene Segura?
Those 2 pitches, bro.
He's fine. He's overrated.
Who's the one that got hit with the domestic violence? Was it Abdul Herrera or Michael Franco? Which one?
It's Odubel Herrera.
Yes, that one.
Yeah.
Michael Franco's not on.
He's on the Royals now, isn't he?
He's having a good year for Kansas City last year. Yeah, he was really good.
Wow.
He wasn't really good, but he was decent.
He was solid.
Yeah.
He was no Hunter Dozier.
No, Hunter Dozier's
guy's a speedster. Hunter Dozier's a speedster.
He's not bad, Walker.
He's not.
Look at his sprint speed numbers are really good.
As we got 10 minutes on this meeting here, just a couple more moves. Kike Hernandez, 2-year deal with the Red Sox. Brad Hand, 1 year, $10.5 million with the Nationals. Nationals steal him away from the Mets, who it basically sounded like they were pen to paper already. The AL in the AL, the Twins loading up on a couple more moves. Andrelton Simmons, 1 year, $10.5 million, and they re-signed Nelson Cruz. Joe,
I like that move a lot. I mean, Minnesota with Nelson Cruz in that lineup has been scary. He has done nothing but produce for them. If you're the Twins, you have to make that move.
It was either Minnesota or Chicago for Cruz. And I feel like you just had to keep him out of Chicago, especially with the production he brings. You really need to keep him in that lineup to compete with Chicago. I still think Chicago is the best team in that division, but this definitely helps the Twins by a large margin.
would Chicago really function with Eddie Encarnacion and Nelson Cruz?
Isn't he a free agent?
They didn't resign. I didn't know if he was he was on there last year. I don't know if it was a 1 year deal.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was, but I'm not completely sure.
Man, I remember when the Yankees
traded it was a 1 year deal.
It was all right.
What a blockbuster deal that was from the Mariners.
For Juan then.
Then.
What about Josh Stowers?
Josh Stowers. I remember the Yankees when they were trying to trade Sonny Gray. They went for the Reds and said they wanted what's the guy's name? The guy that's on the Mariners.
Scooter Gennett?
No, the outfield prospect. No, the outfield prospect. No.
Oh, no, not Kalenic.
What's his name? No, he's on the Mariners now. He was on the Padres. And they got traded to the Mariners in that big deal for Austin Nola.
Ooh, I don't know.
Hold on.
Oh man.
Shed Long.
This hurts.
Here's the prime return in the Sonny Gray deal.
Taylor Trammell, that's what it is.
Taylor Trammell, okay.
That's what it is. Who was at the time the 50th best prospect in baseball, and the Yankees were like, we want Taylor Trammell for Sonny Gray, who was coming off a season where he had a 6th ERA on the final year of his deal.
Yeah. And then major news here, the Orioles making a boatload of moves. They trade Alex Cobb to the Angels for Jamani Jones, who Justin says is the 5th best prospect. He was the 5th best prospect in the Angels system And
He is.
then
He was.
they solidify the starting rotation with King Felix himself.
Dude, I just don't know what was Felix drunk when he signed that contract? Like, why? I don't know why you would do like you're at the end of your career. Why do you want to pitch in Baltimore in the AL East for a team that's probably going to finish last in the division?
It's so irrelevant. Like, why
This
would?
is market that weak.
So why do the Angels want Alex Cobb? And why did they just get Alex Cobb from the Orioles when they traded for Iglesias?
Bro,
Why do the Angels try so hard to add players they don't need, like Anthony Rendon? So stupid.
But just like, we could get Trevor Bauer, but we don't
The
want.
rotation is so bad, and they just keep adding bad pitchers to it.
They got Julio Teheran.
They brought in Julio Teheran and his 84-mile-per-hour fastball.
King Felix is gonna get just shelled in this division. It's so
Home runs off the warehouse
insane.
incoming.
For the Orioles though, it's great for them because like if he does happen to have some sort of decent couple months, you can trade him for a prospect or two. But for Felix, I'm like, what are you doing, man?
I know you got Jahmai Jones.
Yeah, no, if you could turn Alex Cobb into Jahmai Jones, like
what a lost organization the Orioles are.
No, I like these
no direction,
moves for the Orioles.
no
No, I
path.
like these moves for the Orioles. Trust me. Like these aren't for the Orioles. These aren't bad moves. For the Angels and Felix, these are bad moves.
Can't wait for the opening day. Corey Kluber versus Felix Hernandez. Oh
Former
man,
Cy Young winners. That's cool.
Yeah, man.
it's nice.
Well, who did the Yankees play on opening day? Is it Toronto?
The Blue
Yeah,
105 Thursday.
Who gets the ball? It's going to be Hyunjin Ryu against Garrett Cole.
Oh man,
I
I just have flashbacks every time the Yankees play the Blue Jays on opening day to Tanaka's first batter ever faced in
Melky
the
Cabrera.
MLB.
Yeah.
Melky Cabrera takes him deep.
Yeah,
I like to remember Stanton hitting 2 home runs on
man.
opening day in the Rogers Center. That was the first and last time I liked the trade.
No, you did. You like the trade when they got him. You've told me that.
Yeah, that was the last time. The last time I liked the trade was his first game as a Yankee.
And then
it was all downhill
you
from
were
there.
over it. Yeah.
I was so over it.
What about last year opening day when he hit the homer off Scherzer? It's so funny because we were making fun of Walker the whole time too, and then he hit a home.
when Stan hit the home run in the ALDS in Game 1 against Tampa, the grand slam, I was never more happy than I did right now.
That garbage time grand slam that he hit.
Totally garbage time, right? They're up by 1 run in the 9th inning. Garbage time.
That was bad situational hitting. He could have just hit a sac fly.
And then we have some retirees, 2 really good second basemen here, Dustin Pedroia and Dan the Man Murphy, both out of baseball now. And Pedroia Hall of Famer, maybe? What are we thinking?
No.
Nah,
He didn't play for long enough.
He'll definitely get on the ballot, and I don't think he'll get kicked off the ballot. I think he'll just kind of hang in the middle, maybe like 35-40% of the vote. I don't think he'll have a breakthrough though.
Pedroia has won an MVP. He won a couple rings. Like that, it's cool, but he was never the best second baseman in the league. Cano was always better,
and he was never really was he ever the best player on that team?
No.
Right.
No. He just played harder.
Yeah.
But it was a nice career. He definitely means a lot in Boston for the short little guy, but he's not a Hall of Famer.
Right.
Yeah. And then to round it out here, Masahiro Tanaka ends his MLB run, going back to his original team. How do you say it? Rakuten the Rakuten Golden Eagles. Major news there. It seems like they gave him just a crap ton of money to come back.
What was it, like 900? I think it was 900 million yen, which equates to like 8 million or 12 million US dollars.
That's crazy.
Man, who knows?
He's a superstar over there. Good for him.
Yeah, no, I'm sure the fans are more than happy he's back.
Yeah.
I'm happy for. He probably wanted to go. Well, I mean, you did hear they wanted to go stay with the Yankees, but at the same time, I feel like if he wasn't going to come with the Yankees, in his mind, he probably wanted to go home. That was his next best option. Because like, where are you going to go now? You're going to go to, I don't know. I heard one team actually called him and asked him if he wanted to be a closer for them, which is interesting.
Baltimore,
But
maybe.
dude, on it could have been.
Oh, man.
But yeah, no, I heard Toronto was interested. San Diego.
We got
was
Anthony
really
Walker
interested.
muted here. Thumbs up with the headphone, folks. It's all right though. We got
Am I
got
good?
less than a minute here. Can't hear you yet, Walker.
I'm good. Am I good?
Nothing. Joe, you hear him?
I hear him.
Okay, cool. Got it. But we're gonna take a short break here. When we come back, Anthony and I are gonna talk to Jack Curry from Yes Network about the Yankee offseason and his thoughts so far and the look ahead to 2021. So, Joe, thank you so much for popping on. We'll see you in an episode in the future. Anthony, we'll see you in a couple minutes, and please stay tuned. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to a very special edition of the Sports Department Podcast. I am Stephen Bologna, joined alongside Anthony Walker, and we are pleased to be joined by Jack Curry, the Yes Network pre- and post-game analyst for the New York Yankees, also a very good author, esteemed novelist. Thank you guys both for being here. Jack, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I think we should call this the snow version, right? Because we're all home. We're all trying to stay out of the snow. And what could make us feel warmer than talking about baseball and dreaming of baseball games in the sun? That's what we're all looking forward to.
Man.
Only a month away.
Yes.
We're getting there. I definitely, miss going out to the ballpark, but hopefully in the future, very near future, we can get back there.
I think you're right. I think we look towards 2021, and we don't know exactly when that date will be. But you see other sports, NFL is going to have 22,000 at the Super Bowl. As long as everything's done safely and people can feel comfortable, I think you're right. I think we look forward to that day excitedly. I've covered baseball for 30 years, and last year was the first year I was not at Yankee Stadium once because I was working from the studio. So I think we all look forward to that day, getting to that point, having people feel safe and enjoying that experience.
Absolutely. So I think it's safe to say baseball is your favorite sport.
It is. I grew up in New Jersey, and I had an older brother, a couple years older than me, and we grew up in Jersey City, and I had a bunch of friends who lived on the same block as me, and our thing was wiffle ball, stickball, little league. Absolutely. I like the other sports, guys, but baseball by far is my favorite sport.
Could not agree more. I'm that way too. Anthony, I think you are as well.
100%.
Nothing better than some baseball. So, Jack, I'm going to start things off here. Coming into the offseason, in many minds, at least me and Anthony's minds, re-signing DJ LeMahieu should have been the Yankees' top priority. And a little weary there for a while. It was taking a little bit of a long time to get him re-signed. It finally broke. 6 years, $90 million was the deal. Give me your thoughts on the signing.
I was on the same page as you guys, and I think the Yankees were saying that all along, that he was their top priority. We did our first Hot Stove show at Yes in mid-November, and I said, I believe the Yankees are going to sign DJ LeMahieu, but this is an offseason unlike any other. I think this could be something that takes some time because teams were still grappling with what 2020 meant to the decisions they wanted to make for 2021. I know that LeMahieu's agent was asking for 5 years, north of $100 million. I knew the Yankees were thinking they'd like to keep it in the 80 million range. So eventually they got to that 90 million. I think, guys, this was a great deal for the Yankees to lock him up for 6 years, 90 million. That's only $15 million a year for a guy who's been your best player the last 2 years, top 4 in the MVP balloting. And I happened to be talking to Paul O'Neill the other day. I work with him at Yes, and he said he's so excited to see the LeMahieu hit because just the way he hits, he's different than everybody else these days, guys, because he hits the ball to all fields, and he's a contact hitter. He's not trying to hit the ball over the fence. So O'Neill was just reiterating how much he loves that style of hitting.
Yeah, I'm very happy they got the deal done. In my opinion, has been their best player since they signed him. And it's funny too because they signed him pretty well into the offseason back in 2019, a 2-year deal. And I'm just happy that the Yankees got the deal done, and it's out of their minds, and they could look forward to next season.
Yeah, 2-year, $24 million deal. General manager Brian Cashman sort of had to be convinced by some of his associates that this is a guy you should try and sign, and a terrific deal all the way around. And when you have the opportunity to watch LeMahieu work and the kind of player that he is, it rubs off on other guys, I think. And we didn't even talk about him defensively and the versatility that he's able to give you at multiple positions. So you're absolutely right in saying he was a priority, and they fulfilled that priority. And so now we know who will be leading off when the Yankees play their first game of the season.
Right. And we also knew going into the offseason that the Yankees need to address the starting rotation. You had Masahiro Tanaka and James Paxton both on the market. We didn't really know exactly how they were going to bring reinforcements in, if they're going to bring those two guys back, if they're going to go out of the organization perhaps. And it turns out that they did go out of the organization when they signed Corey Kluber and Jameson Tyone. So just take me through your thought process on those two acquisitions.
I spoke to someone in the Yankee organization when the season ended, and we talked about Tanaka. And this person wondered if Tanaka might end up being at a salary level where the Yankees weren't going to be comfortable. And if you look at some of the pitchers that signed, a guy like Charlie Morton signed a $15 million deal. Tanaka's in that range. He's a $12 to $15 million a year pitcher for what he has done. So I think the Yankees started to look in other directions. And I do think that Tanaka, as great a postseason pitcher as he had been, he struggled in this postseason. So this is a what have you done for me lately kind of business. And I think the Yankees started to look at other options. Now they go with two pitchers who you mentioned already, combined pitched 1 inning last year, Kluber and Tyone. So they're asking a lot from these guys. But I said this on one of our Hot Stove shows. If Kluber is 90% of what he was from 14 to 18, when he was a 30-plus starter guy, he was a 220-inning-plus guy, that's better than what Tanaka's going to give you. And I love Tanaka. I did a story for YesNetwork.com about how much I love watching Tanaka pitch. But I think the Yankees are hoping that Kluber can be that guy. And then Tyone, coming off those 2 Tommy John surgeries, again, they're betting high on this guy. They're thinking that if they can get him to be who he was in 2018 with the Pirates, they're getting a pitcher that they can really rely on. Brian Cashman himself did a Zoom call the other day where he said, you don't know if these moves are successful until the players perform. So the three of us can come out here and say you liked the Kluber move or you didn't like the Kluber move. But now Kluber has to go out there and answer who's right about this. I will say this, though, guys, about both of these moves. The Yankees weren't alone on an island with Kluber. There were a lot of teams that wanted to sign this guy. They had eyes on him. They have Eric Cressy, who is his strength coach trainer, and he now works for the Yankees, and he gave a glowing report on Kluber. So I actually think that Kluber is going to succeed. And I think Tyone, having made changes in his delivery after his second Tommy John, I'm really curious to see what kind of pitcher he ends up being for them.
And one thing I love is that Tyone, really good friends with Garrett Cole when they were together in Pittsburgh. So I just love, I saw on Garrett Cole's Instagram, he put up a photo of them drinking wine together. So it's just really nice to see. Now, Jack, you would know better than anyone, the Yankees are always associated with winning the big game, 27 World Series, most in history. Is this season World Series or bust?
It's a great question. I think I go back to the days I started covering the Yankees in 1990, and George Steinbrenner was the outspoken owner of the team. And Steinbrenner used to say that every year, that any year you don't win a World Series is a failure. And when you think about the fact that there are 30 teams and only one is going to end up with that title, that's a high bar. And that can be very harsh in saying there's only one team that had a successful season. But that has been the Yankee mantra. And I think Brian Cashman, who worked for Steinbrenner and still works for the Steinbrenner family, I think he feels the same way. I thought the Yankees lost an opportunity last year, guys, because I think that their roster was extremely talented, but I think the injuries got them. And I think Tampa Bay was this upstart team who simply outperformed the Yankees. The Rays had a better year than the Yankees did. And I think the Yankees lost an opportunity last year because I thought they were a World Series team last year. There were times, I know it was a 60-game season, but there were times during that season where they were the best team in baseball. And they looked that way and they played that way. And Stanton was healthy and Judge was healthy and the bullpen looked strong. And then they sputtered and they had trouble and they allowed the Rays to upend them. So I don't know if I would say World Series or bust because I think, Steve, they think that every year. I think every year the Yankees are thinking they have a championship caliber team and they should win.
Right. And Jack, I just want to ask you one more question about this offseason for the Yankees. Obviously, it was kind of a slow offseason for the Yankees up until a few weeks ago when they signed LeMahieu. But since LeMahieu, they've brought in Kluber and Tyone, as we've mentioned. They've traded Adam Ottavino to the Red Sox, which not many people saw coming. They brought in Darren O'Day to fortify this bullpen. Do you think now they still have a couple $1 million left over? Do you think that they have more moves up their sleeve this offseason, or are they pretty much done for the
That's a great question, and I wish I had the crystal ball in front of me that had the total answer. I've thought for a good part of this offseason that Brett Gardner still would be a part of this roster. And I know the Yankees have communicated with his agent. I know they have had discussions, but I also listened to some of the comments Cashman has made recently and talking about Gardner being a great Yankee and someone whose career we have great respect for. And I'm not trying to put words in Brian Cashman's mouth, but in some ways that almost sounded to me like someone you were almost saying goodbye to. I think any moves they make from here on out, because of the fact that they're bumping up against that $210 million luxury tax that they don't want to go over, I think you're going to see non-roster invitees, guys on minor league deals. I know some people would love to see them add another bullpen piece. I'm not sure that they're going to sign another guy for a $3 million deal. I think they're going to want to have that wiggle room, and they love their young arms. They love the guys like Nelson and King and Garcia and Schmidt. So I think they're content with going into the season and seeing where these guys all land. Maybe one of those pitchers ends up being a missing bullpen piece for you. And I know you mentioned it, and I do love the O'Day signing. Ottavino, I thought at times was a really good pitcher for them, but they basically got an Ottavino type while saving some money. And anytime you can have a guy who gives you that different look, you want guys coming out of the bullpen, different looks. And I made this comment on our Hot Stove show. Imagine the Yankees have a starter who struggles one day. So in the fifth inning, you bring in Chad Green. You're a right-handed batter for the opposing team. It's all high fastballs, and then he's breaking off a curveball. Then after him, you bring in O'Day. And instead of over-the-top four-seamers, it's a guy coming from under here, giving you a totally different look. And then you finish off that game with either Chapman or Britton, who's throwing from the left, and Chapman's all fastball, and Britton's throwing this bowling ball sinker. That's how you win baseball games. I mean, those different looks are how you're going to be able to suffocate those hitters late in games.
Jack, last question before we let you go. We talked about the signings that the Yankees have. We already know they're 1, 2, and 3 starters. Now, their 4 and 5 could get interesting. You have Jordan Montgomery, Deivi Garcia, Clark Schmidt. How confident are the Yankees organization on these guys?
I actually think if you're laying out their depth chart right now, guys, I would say that Montgomery's your number 4 starter. I think he's earned it. I think he's less of a question mark than the other guys. Herman, when he last pitched, was really good and really solid. He had an unfortunate domestic violence incident that he needs to be contrite for and needs to come back and show that he has done everything he has to do to apologize for that and get focused on baseball. I think the Yankees have a wait and see attitude on who Herman can be, but there's no reason to believe that his arm shouldn't be as electric as it was. And then when you talk about the other 2 guys, Steven, I mean, Garcia to me looked like the real deal last year. I mean, what a polished kid, unflappable, not afraid out there. So I think the Yankees have a lot of confidence in him. And then as far as Schmidt goes, I've spoken to some people in the organization who say Schmidt has the makeup to be an all-star, a guy who needs to just – it's got to get his fastball command harnessed. Sometimes he gets into a game and that fastball starts to scatter on him. But if he can get that harnessed, the fact that he already has an above average major league curveball, and he's got swagger. He's got an attitude that he expects to succeed at this level. And that's what the person I spoke to talked about, how when they watch Schmidt, they see a guy who, I'm not just here to be a guy filling up a roster. I'm here to be a guy who expects to excel.
Absolutely. We are all excited. As all Yankee fans are excited we're waiting on spring training and pitchers and catchers to report. But Jack, I really cannot thank you enough for taking time out of your day to talk some Yankee baseball with us.
Stephen, Anthony, it was my pleasure. I do have to give you one little nugget before I leave. So I'm a Fordham guy. I graduated from Fordham, worked for WFUV while I was there, but I dropped one class at Fordham. I wasn't doing well in a Spanish class, so I decided to drop it. And that summer, I needed to find a place to go and get those credits. And William Patterson came through.
Wow.
I'm a Jersey guy.
Wow.
Went and got those credits at William Patterson and transferred them over to Fordham. So I feel like there's a kinship between us.
There is.
Without William Patterson,
That's
I'm
awesome.
not getting that Fordham degree. So I appreciate it.
No problem. I certainly struggled in Spanish as well, so I know the feeling. But thank you again, Jack. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you all so much for listening. Make sure to follow us on all our socials, and we will see you in the next episode.